So we're gonna turn it back over, and this is gonna be the beginning of our list along.
Obviously. Hey, hey. I can't fucking believe you're here. You hear me? Thank you so much, Mr. McMahon. Vince.
I'm Vince.
Okay, good. I was wondering what I should call you. Yeah. Okay, I just want to show the respect.
I understand when you're off camera, you call me a lot of things. I haven't heard them, but
No, not me. Many others, and I think a lot of those people are tuning in today to hear a conversation from you live because I've gotten a chance to chat with you off air, and I've been very lucky to ask you questions and you give me actual advice. And whenever you were the one that decided you wanted to be here in person, I took a lot of honor in that, and I appreciate the hell out of you being here. This is big for our show, so we thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Fucking Vince is here, man.
Yeah.
Now let's get into it, boss. Just the mere mention of your name, everybody on earth knows, okay? And what we have here in like 30 days is basically the yearly global standard for live events, okay? WrestleMania, especially this year's WrestleMania, creation of yours, obviously, but this year's WrestleMania, the most stupendous two-night affair. Whenever you were a kid, a tiny kid, did you know you were going to be doing like this type of thing? Did you know you were going to be doing business? Were you like a businessman as a kid, an asshole as a kid? Like, what were you as a kid, and is this all expected from you?
Well, I don't believe in ceilings. And did I ever believe I would be here? No, but I did not believe it.
Got it.
So I don't think that way. I don't think ceilings. I don't think milestones. You know, like I don't think pats on the back. I just think about enjoying what you're doing, and doing it, and building it.
And is that why you feel like whenever you make a decision, you never back off it? For instance, like WWE Network, when you started that, the subscription service, years ago, you were killed, right? I mean, everybody, your fans allowed, obviously, all the time in the wrestling business, the world you created. Media alike. Why is this? They're doing this. You're going to cut down your audience. Now everybody on earth wants to be a part of the subscription service. Why did you not back off of that? And there's many other decisions you've made that you've gotten killed for. Do you think it's because you're just a let's go do this thing type guy, or why do you think it is?
No, not at all. I think everything we do is calculated. You need to have some really smart people around you. You need to listen to them and make your decision. But in that instance, we had a great deal that was given to us pretty much by Comcast. But when you got into the lawyer stuff and nitty-gritty of it, they tried to tie your hands in so much creativity, tie your hands in terms of owning you, moreover, and I've never liked that. So really, it was more about creative control and having control of your own destiny. So that's why we went that way.
So I'll just create my own network. How you doing? Keep it moving. I happen to own this show as well. I respect you. And obviously you're a person that I look to as a trailblazer in this world, because before you, I assume there was some people that had success in the world of wrestling. But what you've been able to do with it, I don't think anybody else on earth would have been able to do it. Do you hear the news, or do you hear the noise whenever people say like this wrestling thing is much better because of you? And do you hear the noise that, hey, this wrestling thing because of you has turned into what it wasn't originally? Like, do you hear that shit, or do you try to stay out of all of that?
I stay out of all of it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I think, again, I'm not big on the pats on the back. It really screws with your mind. You know, you're somebody. I'm just who I am.
Yeah.
And if you listen to the positives, then you have to listen to the negatives. I'm not big on negatives at all. A negative no matter what it is a double negative, because if you're dealing with this negative, that means you're not dealing with a positive in which you put your intellectual cost in that positive, not the negative. So I try and stay away from negatives as much as possible. And members of the media, or they're going to say what they're going to say, and there's nothing you can do to change it, really, because you spend all your time saying, no, I'm not that.
Hey, he's on the mic, yeah. Sorry, man. That's us. We should have moved.
I get my hands going.
No, that's good. Hey, feel free to do whatever the hell you want. Yeah.
Generally, anything that's in my way, I'm knocking down.
Well, a lot of people have a lot of questions about that as well.
So, in any event, you're dealing with a negative, and it's like, if people think you're an asshole, you can't change that. No. I'm not really an asshole. I'm really a nice guy. I'm this. Yeah, you're an asshole. No, but really, I'm a good guy. I love my family. You're an asshole. So it doesn't matter what. You can't change perception generally when you're a public persona type thing. You can't. You know, so
Well, especially you, by the
then
way.
don't bother. You know, so it doesn't bother me. I really used to care about people like what they thought of me. I care about what the general public thinks of me in general, as far as the business is concerned. You know, it's just that if people think I'm an asshole, then congratulations, I guess I am.
At what point did you make that decision that you didn't care what people thought about you? Because, by the way, your stamina in this thing is unbelievable.
It took a while. I think when you're first starting out and you're giving it everything you possibly can and doing it for all the right reasons, and people start knocking you, calling you something that you're not, and what have you, it bothers you at first. And you try and correct it. But then you realize this is not going to work. I'm spending a lot of time trying to correct this, poor image of me. And I'm spending time over here and things I could do from a positive standpoint. So you really do have to give it up. And I don't mean just a little bit. You really just can't care, what members of the media or people that don't understand you or people have an opinion of you no matter what. You just can't care. You have to enjoy the fact, though, that so many people care about the universe that you created, right? I mean, obviously your dad was in the business, but it was not the WWE universe. And actually, this is a question I think a lot of people would like to know, because it is, wrestling is involved in the name. WrestleMania is happening here in like 30 days. And I think the evolution of wrestling into what it has become, mostly because of what you have done with this thing that was once a carny spectacle, regional, now it's a global sensation, and also bringing, people together. I think that would never, ever relate. I think the evolution, is that why you don't like the word wrestling to be described as what you do, because you feel like it's a lot different, or what is it, you think? No, there's always been wrestling. And I wanted to separate us from everybody else. And my dad was part of the NWA, but he had his own branding. It was Worldwide Wrestling Federation many, many years ago. And I thought that was brilliant. I thought, wow, okay, you're making yourself different from everyone else. And at the time when I bought my dad's business, he never sold it to me if he knew what I was going to do. Hey, by the way, a lot of old school wrestling people, right, think like that? So, in any event, it's like, separate yourself, and be who you want to be, and especially the brand. It's like, it's WWE, it was WWF, which is another story. Hey, that panda got you. Oh, well, the panda got us to a certain extent because of World Wildlife Fund, which I didn't even know existed. Wow. We learned about it through you, I think. The whole world did, by the way. Shout out to that panda. Anyway,
wow, he didn't know about that.
A no-win lawsuit for me because of, you're being tried in England where they wear the wigs and all that kind of stuff. And I wouldn't fit in that environment. So I just said, okay, we'll change it. So, and it was pretty easy to do because it's like, I'm going to change it. It took about 30 minutes at the most. I know what I'll do. I'll get the F out. So we did. Is that your creative process? Because the Comcast deal that almost happened, right? They had a little bit of creative control, and you wanted the creative control. Because have you always been just a super creative human being? I mean, you're putting on 2 shows a week on TV now for like 30 years, 40 years at this point. The amount of shows and ideas you've had to create, not all of them have been great. I think everybody would recognize that. But there has been some brilliant and incredible moments through like 4 different decades at this point. Have you always been super creative? Like, how did this all come to be, you think? Well, we have a lot of creative people around us. But everybody knows. And it's a team, and we have a great team and great executives and what have you. We're on the precipice now of really, really taking off, in the business world. And so that's where I look at it. We're at another plateau, at a platform. But creatively, again, I listen well. And I think that's important because you can't learn if you're talking. I can sometimes, but I have the unique ability to be you right now listening to me and knowing whether or not you're buying my shit. Oh, yeah, reading, good read. I'm listening to you, moreover, listen to me. Body language. Yeah. Yeah, eyes. Body language and even the way you're thinking, Hey, everybody listens to you when you talk, dude. You're fucking Vince McMahon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I know you don't like that. I know you don't enjoy people saying that, and you don't like pats on the back. You literally just said it, and it's a long withstanding thing that in the Hall of Fame speeches, like, hey, don't thank Vince McMahon. Even though, by the way, you probably created the concept that is going into the Hall of Fame and took over and everything like that. You hate that type of shit. With that being said, that is what I like to talk about, that type of stuff. You're an absolute legend. And I think we have some news to break, too. Do we not, about Hall of Fame? Do you want to do that right now?
Yep. Undertaker, of course, is going to be in the Hall of Fame. And I'm going to have the distinction of inducting him in the Hall of Fame.
Let's go! Hey, that's a big deal, right? This is a massive deal. You've only done this, I think, for Stone Cold.
This will be one of the most difficult things I have ever done in my life.
How come?
Because I like the guy. I love the guy. Not just like, I love the guy. And we've known each other for so many years. You've been through all kinds of situations, some that didn't make the newspapers and so forth, but I mean, when you live on the road like that, you have your family at home. When you live on the road, man, you have to have a family on the road. And you have to have people you can count on, rely on, that are loyal and what have you, and trustworthy, and not have to look over your shoulder. And he's that kind of guy. He's an extraordinary human being, as well as one of the all-time greats in the ring. But it's the human being. I could talk about the character, and it won't bother me at all. But in my mind, I'm thinking, when I'm up there going to inducting him, I'm thinking about, I know who he is.
Yeah, more.
And that's tough when you know someone that's that close and you care about them so much. That's going to be one of the most difficult things I've ever done.
Well, I want to let you know, I think a lot of people are probably very surprised to see you got choked up there at the beginning, man.
I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I did not.
Yeah, you did. Listen, that just happened right here. We got it on camera.
Yeah,
this
by camera.
This show got hey, shut up. You got choked up there, but the relationship with Undertaker, and you said the loyalty, and this has been documented.
You can hear it in his voice.
I like watching all the behind-the-scenes stuff. I'm obviously been a fan since I was a kid. A lot of what wrestling that I watched as a teenager and growing up created the person that I am. But the Undertaker loyalty through the Monday Night Wars, right? This is where I feel like you and Take probably came closest, because his character, massive. He was able to do whatever, whenever at that point. If he wanted to jump ship, would have been a turn, massive turn. That would have been a huge swing, but he stuck by your side. I got a chance to chat with him a couple different times. Incredibly nice to me. When you're in the middle of those wars, okay, when you look back on the WCW Turner War like that, did it change you, like, creatively as a human when you're in that moment? Because everybody says Vince McMahon, when there's competition, is at his absolute best. So now there was TNA that came and went. Impact is kind of back. Now AEW is the big one. They just bought Ring of Honor, I believe, last night in there. So, like, when everybody says competition makes Vince McMahon better, what do you think that means? And do you believe that looking back on those two like very similar feeling situations?
Well,
Oh shit, here we go.
I'm probably one of the few people in the world who enjoys confrontation. So,
like, you enjoy it.
I enjoy confrontation. I mean, it's one of the things that really, revs you up. It's one of the things that really puts you on your toes. It's one of the things in terms of, okay, what am I going to do here in that split second? I enjoy confrontation, physical confrontation. I enjoy that,
Yeah.
So with a background like that, and a further background when I was a kid, it was like, hey, we don't want to hear another bad kid story or something like that. But my philosophy...
we do, by the way.
Well, no, I'm not going to tell you that. But what I will tell you this is that I learned a long time when I was a kid that if I live through that beating, I win. So if you live through the beating and you won, what can you do to me? So in terms of competition, in terms of that confrontation, I'm not afraid of it. I relish it, And by the way, getting back to the Undertaker and I never had a conversation about him going to WCW. Not one. I never asked him. He never said anything about it. Not one.
Well, see, that is, I think, why all the documentaries and why you're inducting him is going to be so special, because you two just have a great relationship. And I think you hinted on something that probably not a lot of people have ever heard of, including myself. Sorry to hear you went through that, but that mental toughness, you think you had that you think the mental toughness is potentially what makes you and separates you from everybody else?
I don't know. There are a lot of things that, I'm just wired differently than most people. That's all. And that's probably one thing, but I think heredity plays a part in it. You're just who you are, and you accept that, and what your weaknesses are, and your strengths are, and you use them in the best appropriate way you can.
So whenever you are a kid, grinding through, growing up, visualizing things. You always wanted money. So when I was a kid, I looked up at the hill, okay, and there was rap videos, and there was Escalades on 24s, and there was like these big houses up on the hill, and I'm like,
Did you always want money?
And then I want that Escalade on 24s right there. The day I was drafted, I bought a Cadillac Escalade and put 24s on it. I didn't get my signing bonus for 3 months. That Cadillac Escalade on 24s almost got repoed immediately, and I had to show a news thing. But when you were a kid, you always had dreams of being incredibly wealthy? No. Just successful? Nothing like that? What was?
I just wanted to be everything I could be. I grew up in an 8-foot wide trailer in a trailer park, and which was great. I didn't know any different, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Which was a step up from where I lived before with no running water. But nonetheless, it's not one of those things whereby, one day I'm going to have a ton of money and that sort of stuff. You want to be successful, there's a better life than where you are right there. you definitely. So you want to reach beyond that, for sure. But it's not. You hear people bullshit and say they would do what they would do without the money. I would. I know I would. But I don't know what's in the bank. I don't care. There's no difference between me and anyone else. Number of zeros on the end of what you
got a lot in there.
Yeah.
I've seen it on the internet. Congratulations, by the way. 8-foot trailer? 8-foot trailer to all those zeros, dude. Anyways, get back to what you're saying. I'm sorry. That is incredible. You said it's not about that, though, right? For you?
That was me. I think there was a period of time when after, probably WrestleMania 4 or 5, I thought I was somebody, and had an ego that way. Not that I don't have an ego, but have an ego that way in terms of, and then it's like, that lasted for about 6 months, and it's like, Vince, you're just like everybody else, you put your pants on the same way, You happen to be very, very fortunate because you're doing what you love to do. And the odds of me sitting in here, and even being alive are astronomical if you knew my background. Astronomical.
How come just one thing? We don't have to dive into all of them, but what do you mean by whenever you say that? Like, for instance, I boozed like 5 to 6 times a week for like 4 to 5 years while I got into the NFL. Probably took a lot of years off my life. That is something I'm projecting. Are you saying that because you are 76 years old at this point, you've been on... Well, this is what other people said. The internet said this. The internet said this. The internet said you're 76 years old and you're still doing it. You're still working, though, like at this point. What do you mean, like you shouldn't even be alive? You're talking.
Well, I'm not working, though.
Because this is life.
You think this is work, guys? None of this is work. None of what I do is work. I love it. I love the people I do business with, and in the organization and out. It's not work at all. None of it is. It's one of the reasons probably I can put in so many hours or whatever it is because it's not work.
So whenever you think about the future, because a lot of people on the internet, they say with some of the moves that get made. Now listen, I was in the NFL where I have lunch with a dude. Okay, I go into my meeting. I never see that guy again. That guy was cut. He's gone. This is the NFL. There's only a certain amount of spots. With you, whenever you have to make those decisions to move forward, people always assume that you just have no heart and you do not care at all about any of these people. Then there's podcasts that happen. Each one of those decisions that you make, whether it's to release somebody or, by the way, push somebody or keep somebody, how much weight, are any of those decisions more difficult than others, or is it just always what will make the best show in your eyes?
I'm always concerned about what's best for the audience. Always. What does the audience want? And if you have dead weight around you, or you had situations whereby someone's not cutting it, and you have an opportunity for someone else to come in, it's like, okay, that's probably the best thing. It was one of the reasons why, with Hogan and a lot of those guys who left me at one time, and why I brought him back. It's like, I'll never bring that son of a bitch back again as long as I live. It's like, when you say stuff like that, you're really hurting yourself because you're not thinking about your audience. You're not thinking about your product. And it's not about you and your ego. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe I really felt that way, maybe I didn't, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter. What's the best thing for business? If the audience wants Hulk Hogan back, you bring him back. If he has value that way.
Well, there's a lot of very famous disagreements that you've gotten through. Is that a business mindset, you think, to bring people back? Is it a personal mindset, or is it just...
It's not personal. It's business. And once I took the company public, it helped me be a better businessman, because prior to that, I was running the business mostly with my head, but mostly with my heart as well. And these decisions are so damn tough when you do that. because you know who it is, he has kids or this and that and the other, or somebody has cancer in the family or whatever it is, and all that computes in your head, when you're but once you're a public company, now, you owe stockholders.
You owe the business.
That's right. It is the business then. So it helps me make easier business and better business decisions, because my heart, there's still some of it in there, but I know it sounds awful, but there is, but at the same time, it's business. And there's nothing personal about it in terms of whether I like somebody or I don't like someone or whatever. And again, sometimes, athletes, maybe more so in our type of business, when they're not given the opportunity, or even if they are and it doesn't work, that people from all walks of life seldom look in the mirror and say,
Coach's
you know what, I was the guy who fucked up. It was on me. Instead, everybody has a million excuses as to why things didn't work. And generally speaking, the heat has to go someplace, the old blame game. And I'm the bad guy. So that's part of the job.
Yeah, you're okay with being the bad guy for the business. And I assume that helped for the business to make those decisions. But yeah, in our world, it's always the coach's fault, man. It's the coach's fault. The coach fucked me, hated me. I mean, that's an entire thing. That's our world. And you do take a lot of heat for all that type of stuff, but none of the great ideas. Like, you don't get any of the credit for any of the great ideas or the great characters that everybody beloves. And the people, by the way, that they're actually upset that are leaving WWE, you're probably the one that, maybe thought of the idea or decided how to get that idea going, or you're a part of it. I understand it's an entire team thing. Do you have a favorite WWE moment or favorite WWE run or program or anything like that?
Well, I always like to say, like many other people do, is just like, okay, it's going to be the next big moment, would be my favorite, but I think WrestleMania 1 was important to me, because it was like that. I had hawked everything I had, And,
you went all in.
Oh, yeah, I didn't have any money. Even when I was competing with these other guys, it's like I had a really strong work ethic, and with the work ethic, I had some degree of creativity, and balls by the ton, and you just go do it, And so that's kind of the way I operate. And these other guys were millionaires. I was nothing. I had nothing but cash flow. I bought the business, what we call mirrors from my dad. I didn't really have the money that I said I had,
Promote him, baby. We're promoting out here, baby.
It was like a balloon payment thing, they used to call it, where here's so much down, and I don't have the rest of it, but here's so much down, and over the course of a year, they're installments. If you don't make any of those installments, then they keep the money that you gave them and have the business back. So that was over a course of a year. And every installment was, oh my God, this is great. We got this kid's money and we got the business, until the last one. And it was like, what's happened here?
This son of a bitch made it work somehow. That you hedging your future on everything going all in.
Competing with the other guys, they're millionaires. I really didn't have anything. It was all cash flow. So if I were to go into St. Louis or something like that, which was a NWA territory and not part of my dad's Northeast type territory, it was all broken up in the United States and all over the world for that matter, but and you're going into other people's territories. It's like, you don't do that.
Yeah, the business is real. That's like a real thing, right? Because I see on Young Rock, there's a Young Rock. You're a part of Young Rock. The guy did you see the person who plays you on Young Rock?
No.
Young Rock.
Will you ever?
Will I ever?
See the person that plays you on Young Rock?
I'm gonna doubt it, but no.
But it was a young Vince McMahon calling to Hawaii, trying to negotiate for some wrestlers for your territory where you're a young upstart.
Right.
That wrestling territory game was super serious, right? I mean, that was like, there was like some real, that was strict business, right?
It was. I don't know how many different rivers I was supposed to be at the bottom of. Death threats are what they are, and it's like, I always felt like if you could knock off a president of the United States, then I'm easy to get to.
Yeah.
Never had a bodyguard, none of that stuff. And those days, it was like when you, from their standpoint, invaded their territory. It was like, well, okay, them is not just fighting words. It's like, there's so many times when people threatened me, and it was like, the last guy I said, like, if you want to take credit for it, you better get me quick. So many, there's a story that Jim Ross was telling me one day, and he was with Bill Watts and some of the other old NWA guys, and they're having this conference because there's a whole bunch of them. What are we going to do about this kid? Just invading everything. Got to do something about him. And so, they couldn't order lunch together. I knew that. I mean, they couldn't do that even together. But nonetheless.
What do you mean? Too dumb, not broke, too broke?
No, just egos and so forth.
Oh, they didn't like each other either.
No.
So they hated you. That was like you were the enemy of all their enemies.
I was a Joe. So they're
that
meeting in
makes
terms of what can they possibly do. So now Jim is not a part of the meeting, but Jim is now in the men's room. And he's in the men's room in the stall taking care of business, and walks 4 of these most prominent promoters, and they're talking about how they're going to off me. And this guy knows this guy. I know I can do this. This guy did this. It was really impressive. And they all know people, so they're all talking about who's going to off me. So now imagine Jim Ross.
Bucko! They're going to kill Vince McMahon!
He's thinking, doesn't give a shit about Vince McMahon. He's thinking about himself. Because think about it. So he's on the throne. And it's
What the fuck?
He hears this. He's like, oh no, I'm going to be accessory to murder. So he takes one foot and puts it on the seat. Takes the other one, puts it on the seat. So now they can't see his feet, below the stall. And of course, Mother Nature is calling at the same time.
He's got those cowboy boots up in the squatty potty position.
So nonetheless, finally, he waited for them to finish off. Okay, who was going to kill me and all that kind of crap. But that's just one of the things.
Yeah, that's just one of the. Yeah, that's just another day of Vince McMahon.
Well, really, I mean, what are you going to do? So he told me about it like 5 years after he came to work for me. He wasn't working for me then, naturally.
Yeah, he was worried.
You could have told me earlier.
Well, he's waiting for you to hire him, give him a little bit of money down there, get a little coin. You know what I mean? Whenever you say you enjoy confrontation, and I would assume not enjoy, but you're not scared away from it. You probably do enjoy it, but that also has probably led you into situations that many other people probably wouldn't. Business-wise, like, hey, don't know how this is going to go. For instance, you doing a show in Saudi Arabia, okay? This was before, you were the first person, I think, that went over there and almost like offered, hey, let's go ahead and maybe try to bring the world together a little bit. Was that because you heard they were big fans? And when you go into a meeting like that, what the fuck your 8-foot trailer is where you grew up at. Now you're doing meetings with royalty in Saudi Arabia. Like, how do you even prepare for that? What do you expect for that? And since that relationship has started, have you seen like their country develop more and maybe get a little bit more lenient, which is good for the entire world, I think, right?
Well, Saudis are no different than any other people. WB fans all over the world. So it doesn't
How'd you
matter.
know? They were just watching on the internet, or how'd you find out that it was?
Actually, well, I've known for years. We've had a presence over there for years. And Saudi, everywhere, there's no place on the globe that we don't have a presence. So Saudi fans are, really, really enthusiastic, like they are everywhere else. So it was an opportunity to play before the audience. No different than people love Western culture all over the world. They don't love our government, but they love Western culture.
Hey, nobody loves it.
And our form of entertainment with WB kind of fits into everything. It's larger than life. It's like, everything imaginable that you could ever like. Oh my God, the spectacle of it. So it fits in everywhere. And we translate it in 40 languages or something like that. But even if there's just English, you get it. You understand. So we've always been, popular everywhere. Saudi is no different. And again, people are people. It's, and cultures are cultures, and you have to respect that. Just because we as Americans, this is the way we should do. This is the way the whole world should be like us. We know the way, and any other way is just not the right way. Come on, culture's been around thousands of years.
Oh, well, hey.
Long before us.
Yeah, it depends which book you read. There's millions of years potentially, but like that's a very real thing. And you situations are situational is something I say all the time because it's very real. Everything is its own individual battle. With everything you have going on, whether it's negotiations and deals with Saudi Arabia and their culture, and then you have 40 different languages, I think you just said. How do you have the time to do everything? Like, you wake up 3 a.m., golf. What is Mark Wahlberg's schedule? This is what Mark Wahlberg says, just to preface your answer. 3 o'clock you woke up, played 9 holes, read the whole Bible.
Snack
Snack
time.
Kid time, shower for 45 minutes.
That's right.
Drop the kids off at school, work out, again, do that entire thing. Do you have every single day is the exact same thing like all the billionaires seem to have?
Goddamn. I'm not like all the billionaires. I'm not like anybody else in the world. I probably finished training around 3 a.m.
Every day.
Pretty much.
What time do you start?
Oh, on a good day, like 1:30. I maybe a little bit more than that. Depends on how much time I can actually spend in the gym because, it's someone like I have to force myself to get out. And I've always overtrained, which is not good for you. It's just that it's my only socially acceptable outlet for aggression.
Oh.
Yeah, and then you can't pick some of them up. They weigh too much. The hell I can't. And okay, well, you do the best you can. But
Always a meathead?
What's that?
Always super meathead?
No.
Got into it.
I just got into it. I do this for my head more than I do my body. It's good for you. I love that. I take care of me as best I possibly can and try to eat the right things and all of that. But it really helps me more mentally and psychologically, and so that I can handle the workload and handle all the stuff that comes my way. A lot of it's emotional, because you're doing business with people. People are people. And they all have problems, and they all have ambitions, and they all have this. And dealing with all of that can be a little challenging sometimes, but it helps me deal with that. And whatever the business problems come, they're good. People get hit by a bus every day. How do you deal with it?
Well, it depends how big the bus is. Ever a day you doubted anything was going to happen in the whole run? Like if the bus was too big? Was there ever a day where you've doubted yourself or doubted the business or the company?
I don't think there's ever a day that I doubted what I wanted to do. You always wonder whether that's the right decision. And then you learn from that decision, and whether it was good or bad. It was really, really successful, great. Okay, I'm about to try that again in some other form. And how did you make that happen?
Learn from your decisions, guys.
So I don't really have a down day.
That's amazing to hear. And I think you've been able to evolve, and WWE's been able to evolve. The network being the subscription service before every other subscription service tried to become a subscription service. And all the subscription services that are trying to become subscription services now, we're taking shots at you for starting your subscription services. But whenever you're talking about all of those different decisions that you make, right?
It all comes down to common sense. It really does.
Every decision?
Pretty much. You need information as much as you possibly can. And then common sense is a really, really big part of that in every decision we make.
Any decision that you look back on that was like, that was one that shouldn't have fucking done that one. Like, is there any of those that you look back on where you go through it?
Because if...
Oh, you don't like negatives, by the way. Why would we even think about it?
Exactly.
That's 50 minutes ago. What am I even doing? You literally just said
you
it.
learn from what happened that didn't go well, and that's factored into what you're doing going forward. So... But no, I don't draw any of that.
The ability to evolve, though, with the subscription service before everybody else, with the digital platforms and attacking YouTube, which was before everybody else, and you have the biggest YouTube presence in your social media, and just kind of evolving has always been something that you do. Excited to see what you do with the metaverse, by the way. I think we're all very excited.
Sure.
Somebody came on, I forget who it was. Might have been Bischoff, might have been somebody that said if Elon Musk is going to colonize Mars, or it was Paul Heyman, the wise man Paul Heyman, who grew up in the wrestling business as well. He said if Elon Musk is going to colonize Mars, Vince McMahon is going to get the promotional rights up there, and he's going to put on an event up there. What is next? I'm not saying a show on Mars is next, even though it fucking might be with you. I have no idea. But what is, do you think about the future? How far in the future can you think? Obviously, WrestleMania, the most stupendous WrestleMania in the history of WrestleManias, is happening in like 30 days. But when
I love branding. We try to brand everything and marketing and all that. It's just fascinating to do that. So you have to do what makes this WrestleMania different. So the word stupendous is not used very often. So when you're hitting stupendous, it's like stupendous. What the hell is stupendous? A lot of people have to look it up. But it sounds good. It sounds grand, like stupendous. Wow. What the hell is stupendous? But it's all, I would use that word before, and it's not in everyday speak. Stupendous is not in everyday speak, so that's why you want to do something to get everyone's attention, and then, okay, what's stupendous in WrestleMania, et cetera. So it's things like that.
Yeah, so whenever you think of stupendous, how long does that take for you there? How long is that branding? Are you walking around your office that has that goddamn dinosaur head behind? Are you walking around that office? Are you in a suit? Are you doing the billionaire strut around the office? While you're thinking, how long is this stupendous branding?
Oh my God.
Years of doing it. I mean, WrestleMania 38, here we are. Congratulations, by the way.
That was before you were born, but that's great.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Like, at what point, how long is it, like, that decision is thought of, and then it's like, boom, we're going with it. I have 2,000 other things I have to do as well.
Well, I think when you're creative, and some people would think it's a burnout factor, it's not really, because if you're concentrating on one thing at the moment, which is difficult for me to do, but and all your creative skills are pouring in, and something else comes this way that's also creative. It's a great relief, because hang on, and you deal with this, and then when you come back, you'll think differently, generally speaking, or what you just learned from that. So it's a big creative wheel all the time that's going on.
That's so true.
So you're thinking of ideas, planting seeds in your head for something going forward. That's kind of what I do, by the way. Like, and I don't want to ever compare our brains, because unless I'm doing something,
You wouldn't want my brain.
yeah, I wouldn't want.
No.
Yes, I fucking would. Are you kidding me? Absolutely. You wouldn't want my. Hey, you wouldn't want my brain. How about that? How about that? You wouldn't want my brain. That's the whole thing. But whenever you're, probably, yeah, that is 100% true. I don't even know why I put that in there. But you're thinking about stuff just constantly. It's just how you're wired. You think so? Like, whenever something comes up in the future, it's like, oh, I had already thought about this at one point when I was maybe, I don't know, Billy strutting around the office or in the workout or in the gym. That's kind of how it all kind of pieces together for you and your creative.
You just need to be wide open. And I think being creative is, you just have to stay wide open as far as, your head is concerned, and just be able to accept, whatever's coming in from whatever source. And I'm really fortunate, because I have kind of like a second, not a second brain, but a second wheel that's going on all the time.
Oh, nice.
I've got the one I'm using right now, and at the same time, I'm thinking of something else right now, in another way that I could easily snap to. And then sometimes there's a third one as well, but it's like, and sometimes all that can get very confusing.
Hey, I would want that brain, by the way. That'd be pretty sweet. Hey, what's everybody saying? That'd be
So,
pretty cool.
it's like many times when I get really, really tired, which is seldom, but when I do, wow, but it's so good, because you can focus then on one thing,
What a flex that was right there, by the way. It's when I get tired, which is seldom. Very seldom. But when it does that, it's such a flex right there. You know what I mean? But whenever you,
I did just that. I flexed.
no, like
I never flex.
Hey, we saw those boobs bouncing on the internet this morning. We saw that thing popping off. Hard work in the gym. I mean, you talked about it. You end at 3 a.m. You start at 1:30. But the creative process and not getting tired, you would think you'd be worn out at this whole thing. But when you get past Stupendous and WrestleMania, how far in advance do you have to think for the WWE? What's coming? Like, because you change the game every time you get into it. And I talked about the metaverse and Mars and stuff like that. And Mars, obviously not real. We don't know what Elon Musk's going to be up to. But like the metaverse and things like that, how much do you have to think in the future while also knowing that the current product is what is going to get you there? Like, how do you do that?
You have to look at both constantly. You have to look at the big picture and the little picture all at the same time, constantly. Because you want to have an idea of where you might want to go, and you don't always know. But if something makes itself available, I can fit into that. Or nope. And with WWE, we can almost fit into anything, because it's like it's in terms of the way we think, in terms of the structure we have, and the marketing aspect, and especially our talent. Our talent, by the time they finish, they've graduated from, they have much better than a doctoral or a bachelor's degree. Or they when you graduate from WWE, you know how to do. You know how to treat people. You show respect, which is one of the things that I'm sure you've picked up on, is respect is huge in everything we do.
Yeah, it's big behind the scenes for everything. Everybody's known about it, but it is very real.
And even, from a standpoint, people really don't understand how, in the gorilla position backstage, we hug each other, shake hands, all that kind of stuff. Well, the basis of that is that I'm going to the ring to work with you, my competitor, and I want you to protect me. I don't want you to, don't drop me on my head. I don't want to be paralyzed. I don't want to be hurt for the rest of my life. I can't continue my career. So it's the respect factor that you have for each other, to go out there and try not to maim each other, and to come back, put on a great show. Obviously, it hurts, but that's okay. That's what you do. It's going to hurt.
Yeah, you jumped off. We were just talking about like 20-foot ledge when Gronk wouldn't do it. You just jumped off as 70-year-old or whatever. It's like, yeah, you guys are maniacs.
I only wanted to show him that, like, hey, look, this is all it is.
Yeah, we know that's what you wanted to do. Yeah, but it's just like Gronk's like top 100 tight end of all time, one of the toughest guys of all time. And then Vince McMahon obviously goes,
No,
this is
not
all
it.
No, I know you're not doing that, but that's the image of the Mr. McMahon, and then you doing it from outside in because you never taught. You leave all these things go unchecked because you can't answer everything because you got to do your work. But that's the immediate response. Like, of course, Vince McMahon would do that. Like, you are viewed by a lot of people. Myself, before I got in, and I can't reiterate this enough. The amount of times that you have allowed me to chat with you and ask you questions and advice is unbelievable. You actually listen to what I'm saying. You give me actual answers. Some of them are hysterical. I mean, we've had some hysterical conversations over our short relationship. But like the fact that you have allowed this character, the Mr. McMahon character, to go, everything you do is viewed through a light that you are a robot of a person. And with that being said, you're just going to live forever? Is that how you feel as well? We all feel that way.
Yeah.
We all feel you're just going to live forever. You're an alien. You're a robot. Right. You're one of one. That's literally what people view of you. I don't know if you know that or not.
My mom was 101 when she passed away. That's a benchmark, but I don't know. Look, I get hit by a bus today, and if I do, I want 1 second before I kick to say thank you.
To everybody.
Everybody.
Everything. For everything that has ever been done, like business,
for
personal.
This opportunity to live in this country, to all of it. You just want to be thankful that you are alive and appreciate the fact that you're alive. And I get sometimes more out of taking one big deep breath than most people do out of breathing a lifetime, because they just don't understand. And to have the privilege of being able to understand what all that means, and not take it for granted all the time. So
Yeah.
I think you get whacked, you get whatever. Hopefully there's at least 1 second I can say thanks.
Well, I think you just did it there.
Yeah.
Although you got 26 more years or 26 more years.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, that's fucking math right there, Vince. I don't know if you need
I'm
it.
impressed.
Hey, thank you. You got that, obviously, but the conversation has been broached with you now. And obviously there's a show, Secession. I don't know if you've heard of this show.
Right.
It's about a mega wealthy person with the family and the business. And there's been a lot of comparisons to the WWE. People are like, oh, this is probably what's happening behind the scenes.
Right.
At what point did the future of the WWE be brought to you, and were you not happy about that, like when it happened? Because then there's a conversation about it maybe not being yours afterwards. Like, was that something that ever cracked into your world? Because it is a topic of conversation outside of the WWE very loudly.
Right.
When do you think that started, and were you pissed that conversation even happened, and is that something you even think about?
No, I don't think about it a lot. Hopefully, if you built something, hopefully you want it to continue on, and prosper and grow, whether that's with a family member or without a family member. Because my view is the business is best for everybody, and whether you're a part of it or you're not a part of it. And you have to treat it as such. You have to be objective, and look at family members, whoever it is, just like you would other employees. And quite frankly, I probably have expected more, out of my family members, which is probably not the right thing either. But we really
That's going to be a big deal right there, what you just said. You know that, though, absolutely.
But nonetheless, it's like you have to do the right thing for the business. So if this person is not working out, then they shouldn't be a part of the company.
So whenever you think about the business, what is your overarching view back on what you have been able to build this far? You never get to do it. I know you never get to do it, but in this moment, I would like you to do it. Like, you have to be...
Thank you.
Yeah. You have to be pretty proud, right?
I don't want to do what you tell me to do.
I apologize. That's on me. That's on me. That's on me. I apologize.
Unless you insist in its confrontation. I didn't know what I do.
Hey, by the way, I'm okay with it, too. I will have a good time with it, but no, I'm just joking. But I think at some point, I hope for that 1 second where you get to say thank you, you get to look back and say, like, you know what? I inspired a lot of people. I changed the fucking world. I changed a lot of people's lives. You've employed a lot of people. For every release that happens, people forget about who's coming in and getting pushed.
Right.
Like, what you have done for the world, I think at some point you should say thanks. And I understand you probably hear a lot of heat. I know a lot of these previous conversations that have happened, people always want to get like hey, tell me why you made this decision that didn't work out well, or this decision that worked out. I think you should be celebrated more than you actually are. And I think that's mostly because I got a chance to meet you, but also because you're a dude that all of us kids that didn't grow up with money hopes that we can go get it and follow it along. So I hope you get a chance to think about that in that 1 second as well, since you won't do it right now, obviously.
Right.
All right, fuck off. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for coming in
Is
here.
the show over?
Do you want it to be or no? You want to? The boys probably have questions.
Fire away.
Let's go. Go ahead, Ty.
Vince, I'm curious, when you look at the state of the business right now.
Before I answer your question, because I'll interrupt on occasion, but I want to offer you something. Okay.
Do I need like a pen or something?
You probably need a chair.
Yeah.
So, and that's where you normally are. It's like, and I know you love what we do, and you're a part of the team, big time. And people in the organization really enjoy you, and fans all over the world really enjoy you being you. And you can't find anyone. I can't imagine back in the day Bob Costas standing up on a desk and dancing. Okay, but you're you. And that's why it works. And. So with that, it's like I'd like to offer you an opportunity to actually wrestle at WrestleMania.
Oh, it'd be a dream, boss.
In the ring. Now, it would be the difference, though, when you played for the Colts. It'd be the difference of like, okay, you're the punter.
Okay.
But now, in the ring, you're going to be a linebacker.
24 tackles in the NFL. No big deal.
Here we go.
That would be a fucking dream, obviously. And by the way, there's been a lot of chatter on the internet about me getting back into the ring and wrestling at WrestleMania. And I've had so many torn, conflicted feelings because, I'm out of shape. I ain't out of shape. There's a lot of vitamins that go into these lungs, Vince, and like the things coming up. But WrestleMania is something I've obviously stolen from you. By the way, back in the day, we'd go to whoever had the black box would steal WrestleMania. So sorry about that. I probably owe you like $7, $8, $99 or so like that for that whole thing. But obviously, it is the standard at WrestleMania. I would love to. That'd be an absolute honor.
I'll see you in the ring. We'll find some worthy opponent for you. Put you in the ring.
Wow.
Awesome.
Holy shit.
Hey, Did you see the ring when you walked by the way?
I did. I was impressed. You have your own ring.
Yeah, I got
it. Looks like a standard WA ring.
Well, listen. I don't know if that's how hard your rings are, but goddamn, that thing hurts. That thing hurts like hell. This is incredible, by the way. Awesome. Is this a real deal? I mean, are we really?
No, I don't bullshit. I don't do that.
Let's go.
Here
we
go.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Let's go, dude. Huh? What?
What?
Hey, I got a big right hand. What? Big right foot.
What?
Wait till I bring that goddamn knee out.
What?
And then the millions.
And millions.
The people will go banana lands when that left with the rollie on it comes from the pocket. Oh, right in the kisser. What? Hey, that's awesome, man. I'm pretty excited.
I think it'll work. What do you guys think?
Vince is like, what the fuck? But let's go.
You versus Taker?
By the way, the most stupendous WrestleMania in the history of WrestleManias. That's not a lot of days away.
I love it.
Better get working.
Yeah.
All right.
Start running.
Yep. Let's go ahead and wake him up. Wake him up. I'll be a part of that. Is an honor, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Can the boys ask you a couple questions?
Hell yeah. Fire away, guys.
Hey, man, that's really cool.
That's awesome.
I got this aura ring on.
Right.
It'll tell me my heart rate. I assume whenever you're like, I'd like to make an offer to you. My shit just went right up here. I was excited.
Good.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you.
That's fucking awesome.
Now, we'll have to handle the business side of it, of course, but that is an entire other conversation, and we'll figure it out. Go ahead, Ty.
When you look at the state of the business right now, do you find that it's either more difficult or easier to cultivate and create superstars than it was maybe 10 or 20 years ago? Or ultimately, is it up to kind of that person to get themselves over?
No, it's a team effort. If it's a character, then you have to really be into that character and bring that character into the ring. Not just be a character. The audience is not going to buy that. You have to really buy Undertaker, the primo example. We could never break him, ever. And I tried so many times. Even on camera, taking a risk of trying to break him. And to get him to smile or something.
Dance, right? That was the whole dance.
Could,
that was the whole dance moment where you're telling him to dance, I believe, right?
Yeah, well, there's a take-a-rooney. So
yes.
The spin-a-rooney type thing, I think it was out in the state of Washington. It was after the show was over. And we're trying to do all kind of stuff like that. Nope. Almost got him, but you can see, if you ever see that footage on network, you can see the look at him. He's like he's trying not to smile, but he knows, that I'm getting close to getting him, and it's just he never broke character. He's just, for all the right reasons, just a wonderful, wonderful human being. But you have to, if you do have a character, you have to really, no different than acting, same thing. And our performers, the reason I call them superstars and not just wrestlers, is because anyone can wrestle, either poorly or well. I didn't mean, when I said poorly, I look at you then. I didn't mean
All right, I'm in WrestleMania, dude. All right, I'm in WrestleMania. I don't know what to tell you. But you're right. Everybody can wrestle. So
it's like, do you want to be, and again, back to branding and marketing, so do you want to be a professional wrestler or do you want to be a WWE superstar? WWE superstar sounds a whole lot better to me than being a professional wrestler. So I think the quality of human beings that we have and the enormous amount of talent that they have is because you have to have acting talent or reacting talent. You have to have that. You have to have this ability to really want to grow because, in our environment, you grow. I believe if you're not growing, you're dying.
Right.
Oh.
Myself. So.
Put it on a shirt.
You have to have that desire when you come in to really want to be everything you can be, and really, if it's a character, really get into it. Be that character when when you're in the ring and outside. But in your private life, don't be that character. You really get all confused. A lot of people are that way.
Oh yes, that's by the way, in my eyes, and you might view this differently. I think that's when it's at its best. Like Taker, where it was always Taker, right? That's what everybody said. You saw him in all black. He moved quietly. But then you get him at the bar, he's going to shut it down.
Oh yeah,
Taker's going to.
Mark Calloway. But it's two different things. The really good ones are all in on their character, and then they're themselves. After the show's over. Because
do you not think when the character is closest to the actual character of the person, it is his best, or do you think it's like whoever can portray the best character is the best?
Right. I think it's what you can relate to. Somebody will relate to Batman or whatever it is. But they really think they're Batman after after trying to work with a show or something. No, it's important for your mental health, to not be the character outside the ring.
You talked about being on the road and the family on the road. You have to have more logged hours in planes than anybody. You've lived a rock star life for 40 years, dude. Is that how? What do you do? Like eating wise? We went on the road. What do we have? We had 6 pizzas.
Oh yeah, gained about 60 pounds
70,
in 6 months.
65, 70 pounds. Like, and
Cheesecake every night.
you said you're never tired, right? You said seldom tired. Like that's what you said earlier. Like, how have you been able to maintain this rigorous schedule while also not completely destroying your body? Because you hear about rock stars, you hear about roadies, you hear about people that live on the road. You've been able to maintain energy, creative stamina, everything like that while being on the road. Do you attribute that to anything, or what do you think?
I don't really think about it. I mean, you work at it, and you have to be discretionary. It's like it's a lot of ball players who come from nothing and now have all this money. How do you deal with that? That's fucking tough to deal with. And you've got all other opportunities that are coming at you. Not that you went at them, and they're not always good opportunities. And it's like and they're just coming at you in every conceivable way. You have to be very discretionary, and you have to grow, because when you're a kid, that's so tough. You got to figure out what you want, what you don't want.
Yeah, but you flying out here is absurd to think about. We're on the road to WrestleMania right now. We're in Miami on Friday. Madison Square Garden's on Saturday. I don't know where Monday Night Raw is. I probably should. But then you're there on SmackDown. And then we have the most stupendous WrestleMania. You fitting this into your schedule, I just assume it would be impossible. But when you're traveling, are you just working the entire time?
Sure.
Yes. You've just taken your entire life on the road, basically.
But I'm having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like, okay, I'm working, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I'm having
Always
fun
remember
all the
to
time I'm
have
doing
fun.
it.
How's that Wi-Fi on the plane? Pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah. You watch the show? Yeah, you watch the show all the time. Go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, when COVID first started, I think you were on a council with like a lot of the other commissioners of the major sports. Right. Was there ever a thought for you to like miss a show or anything, or did you immediately like almost have a plan ready just in case this happened?
I think I like to do our own thing. So, and everything's different. Look, whatever the guys in the NFL do or whatever it is, they do. They're a little higher profile and so forth, and I get it. But I was determined that, even with this COVID stuff, that we weren't going to miss a beat. Couldn't have an audience. We never missed a show. And that's a credit to our performers as well, in terms of because again, they're gifted and they work hard at what they do in terms of their skills and in so many different directions. I mean, you're talking about an unbelievable. It's why they're superstars and not wrestlers, and they have this thirst for everything that they can possibly do to make them a better performer. Quite frankly, they're becoming better human beings. So it's what I decided to do was, okay, we had this training facility, which we still have. It was smaller then, and it would keep us in a kind of a cocoon balloon type thing.
Yeah.
So we tested did everything imaginable for people coming in, our people and others, to make sure it was safe. So we put on a show every week, brand new programming, and with no audience. That was difficult because you have to, as a performer, then you have to go, okay, I just got this shit knocked out of me, and it's like 1, 2, 3, they're reacting, and then come back. So you have to listen to that in your head.
Yeah.
Instead of just going through the motions. If they're there, it's easy to listen to them. When they're not, it's far more difficult, and it hurts, by the way, more.
Yeah, because the adrenaline's not there. I was birthed in the Thunderdome era.
Yeah.
I was birthed in there, so I knew nothing different. Then we got in front of the crowd. Where were we? Fort Worth, I believe, and then the Cena. I mean, it was just a game changer. I'm like, holy hell, this is a game changer out here.
Our audience is so much a part of our product.
You get mad. You say everything you think about for the audience. Steve Jobs has a quote where he's like, "People don't know what they want till you show them." Mm-hmm. I assume you have to have that type of mindset when you're making decisions as well.
Yes, but we have a focus group every night, and it doesn't matter what I want. It's like if I think something's going to work and you present it, and there's no reaction, wrong, Vince. Okay, so you immediately know, whether or not something's going to work. You don't know how well it's going to work, but you immediately know. It's a focus group. They tell you.
And you're saying still at this point, through the Thunderdome era, what you probably had to rely on social then, right? Is that what it was? Social media was basically telling you through the Thunderdome era?
Pretty much. Although again, you can tell, but in terms of what's happening, you've been in the business for so many years. You can see in the ring whether or not this is working or not. But you listen to your audience no matter where it's from. But sometimes the internet audience, a portion of it, can be relatively biased and a bit harsh. No! So I don't listen to any of those.
Yeah.
None of them, But again, everything you do is for your product. It's for your audience. Guys, you love this because it's for your audience. What wouldn't you do for the show for your audience?
Yes.
That's what we do,
And I think a lot of people probably from this conversation, and by the way, thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
You are so cool for doing this. I
You've
very
said
much.
that like 4 or 5 times, and once was thank you very much, and I'm thanking you.
Oh, hey, welcome to the Pat McAfee show, man.
I'm not big on the thank yous.
Hey, I know you don't like the compliments, you don't like that whole thing, and hey, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
No, okay, all right, enough. Hey, we won't do that. But I think a lot of people are potentially hearing, you as a human here, and this is a fascinating thing for a lot of people.
God forbid I'm not here.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of humility in a lot of things you're saying. Like, hey, if things are wrong, you got to do that. Aleister Black came out and told a story whenever he left about a meeting about a new song or a new entrance theme. And he said that Vince said, "Oh, I don't understand it, but if you think it's good, you're good. I'm a 76-year-old man," or something like that. Right. At what point do you think that creeped in? And have you always been like that? Is that something?
It wouldn't matter if I was 36. Same thing. I think that you have to overcome a stereotype sometimes. And that Vince is not hip or he's not with it, or I've never been cool. I don't give a shit about that. But
you're pretty fucking cool, dude. You were in a limo that blew up and he came back the next week. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So, but you listen to people and you try to give them as much creative ability as possible because it makes them more invested. If there's an idea and that I really like, and a performer says, "I'm not so sure, I don't like that," then what's the alternative? If they have an alternative that's better, great. There's no pride of authorship. That's the way to go. Thank you very much. But you do need to lead. You can't just wait. So I guess probably what Steve was saying. My guess is you need to lead. That's for sure. You need to give. Here's what I'm offering. Not buying it. Okay. Here's what I'm offering. So I guess that's probably what he meant because you can't dictate, to the audience what they're going to like.
So I don't do well with bosses. It's very well documented.
What's that?
I don't do well with bosses. It's pretty well documented, right? I think that is something that a lot of people, it's on the internet, not in your world, but on the internet. And I think it's because, I'm not 100% sure I appreciate their brain or where they're coming from because I know some of the decisions that they've made in the past. So it's hard for me to take them serious when they're saying something about me, and they probably don't understand me. Anyway, so, all right, you can fuck off. I've done that. So when I signed with the WWE, everybody on earth goes, I can't wait to hear how you react to Vince in your ear telling you exactly what to say, how to say it, and everything like that. And I said, I think I'm getting an incredible opportunity to get a billionaire's brain into my brain on a product that he created, because I like to learn from everybody. I would like to learn from you. You in my ear is awesome. You, since the very beginning, and I don't know how or how many times you thought about not doing it, you've let me just do my thing. Like, I am very, very pumped about that. And it went against everything that was said about you. So I think you saying there that you got to lead, like, yeah, it's your company, but people potentially presenting another option to you and working with it, that's a massive part that never gets chatted about in the creative process, I think, personally.
Yeah, but if I didn't like what you were doing, then you wouldn't be doing it.
yeah, true.
But I mean, really, again, to the audience, if it's not about my personal taste. If it's not getting over, if they weren't like really like, I think he's a fucking cool dude, I like the way he performs, and yada yada. If you wouldn't be there, but you appeal to the audience. That's what we're all about. You're having fun doing that. And we all have fun doing what we do, right? And you create things and what have you, and it's a blast. It's again no work. It's just constant. It's so fucking cool. I'm gonna knock that thing over here. I got backhanded this second.
Hey, listen, I know.
It's like 3 times now I've lightly touched it.
Hey, I know you got big, strong mitts out there. We were trying to figure out what the proper microphone setup was going to be, by the way. We thought about a table with a stationary mic. We went with this one. Do you think we made the right move here?
It wouldn't matter.
Okay. You're not down either one of them?
Brock also broke
Yeah, Brock, those are the headsets that Brock threw up into the rafters.
So cool.
Hey, will you explain that guy, Brock Lesnar? What a one of one that guy
He really is. And an extraordinary human being.
Yeah.
A smart son of a bitch.
Good businessman, good business.
Oh my God, yeah. In general,
Man.
really fucking intelligent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people that again, it's that misperception. You have someone that big, and it's like, oh yeah, well, it's a Neanderthal. Okay, he looks like a Neanderthal. Smarter than you, pal.
Yeah, and he will listen, by the way, to everything you're saying, and then he will have his own. I've been very, I've gotten a chance to learn about Brock now at this point and chat with Brock off air. There's another guy that I'm like asking questions for, like advice from everything. I'm like, hey, can you help me in this particular situation? I love him, but the amount of superstars that have come out of the WWE, and obviously Brock gave you a lot of credit. He said on this show right there before he broke the previous one that you're probably going to break, and then threw his headsets up there, he said, my relationship with Dana White, much different than my relationship with Vince McMahon. Right. Vince McMahon is more like a dad to me. He taught me a lot of things. Now, he said there were some bad times. I made some decisions, and he hindsighted it. But he views you as like a mentor, a father, and I think you guys still chit-chat and go through that. And he gave you a lot of credit for why he's had success outside of the WWE, at the UFC. But you don't just think about Brock as awesome. I fucking love Brock. I'm very thankful for Brock. But if you go through the history of the characters that have been created in your universe, I mean, The Rock is the biggest star on earth right now. Right, yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, however he wants, because he's there. Bill Goldberg, now obviously he starts at WCW, but his entire career continues and grows even more whenever the WWF and the WWE get in there. It's like these stars that get created in your universe live on forever. Do you keep in touch with all these people? Are those conversations happening still?
Some. It's not like I forget people. I love for them to stay in touch with me. But I'm busy today doing this, or busy, I'm gonna get it, busy, doing other things. But I don't lose contact with those individuals you mentioned. Some that are further down the line, I do. I try to make sure our company stays in contact with them.
That's a big part, right? Good graces is good business, right?
Yeah, it's good business, but everyone helped pave the way to where we are now, and I'm always appreciative. Ever how small that was or how big that was, always appreciative. For everyone who ever stepped in the ring, and helped us to get to where we are now.
That Attitude Era was outrageous. Hey, it was outrageous. That television was insanity. Stone Cold Steve Austin coming down with a beer truck, shooting that thing into a crowd. Austin! And we watched clips from the Attitude. What was that like? Was it just we're going to show up and put on the most insane show that anybody's ever seen every single night? Is that what the Attitude Era was like, looking back?
Pretty much. It was, again, just so much fun. It was like you being able to do this as opposed to the standards of a network, and no, you can't do this and you can't say that and all. So we were able to, and at that time, think about in the 80s, it was a Wild West. So we added a little extra sauce on that, and just had a blast.
You ate a bedpan there at one point. Right to the head. I
So
mean,
Steve, before we're doing this, for 30 minutes, Steve is walking up and down the hallway. And I'm doing the setup in terms of producing, directing, all the lighting, all that kind of shit. And the first thing I was doing was Mick Foley with Mr. Sacco. So Steve's walking, I hear him just like, I said, what have you been doing? Well, I was wondering whether or not I should hit you in the head with this bedpan.
what a business. This is your world, by the way.
Yeah, I know. It's a wonderful world. I mean, there is nothing like this world. I mean, it is so wonderful.
Well, Mr. McMahon, I was wondering if I could hit you in the head with this bedpan.
What?
It's a Texas accent.
Well, then he starts hitting his head with it. Like, I don't think it's going to hurt that much, but this fucking thing is thick as hell. And of course, when it's showtime, you don't even think about it. Showtime, you just lay it in, and here we go. But that was fun.
He said on the show during that era, we asked him a question, and I think it was the cement in the Corvette where it blew out. And he said before the show started, he said, they handed me the keys a minute, 2 minutes before the show started. I didn't even know how to drive it. But I fucking hit the Corvette because it's live TV. Right. Like, what is it about live that you love so much?
God. You're on the edge, and I've always said that nothing can go wrong because the audience doesn't know what was supposed to happen. So
it's a lot of pressure, though, isn't it, to put a live show on 2 times a week for 40 years?
Yeah, I know, but it's so exciting. Yeah, there's pressure, but that's what you do.
It's so exciting.
Live for those moments, and when something really great goes down, it's like yes, and it's like you've seen a gorilla. We've done something really, really good, and they come back through that curtain, hugging, and clapping, and all that kind of stuff. Way to go! And other times when you don't do it well, that's a different feeling.
Hey, we'll see you next week, all right?
Have a conversation with your son.
Michael Cole, 25 years into this thing. Almost
horrible human being.
Jesus, just fell no batteries, dude. Oh, my.
Really. And you know that, too. Like, the persona and everything is all well and good, but just a really horrible.
So you've had obviously a lot different experience with him than us, but I see him every Friday night SmackDown. Doesn't matter if we're in Omaha, Madison Square Garden, Baltimore. When that music starts, the sound hits in the headphones. Right. He gets excited. He gets alive. He comes alive. And he's been doing this for 24 years.
You do the same.
Yes, I get very pumped.
This morning, before he walked out on the show, you were excited.
Oh, yes.
When you're all jacked, ready to go. All you guys were.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, so, and how you are now. It's like, this is fun.
You still get excited before shows?
Hell yes.
Everyone?
Every single one of them.
Even when, is there some shows where you go, okay, this one's going to be interesting here? Is there any of that thought? Is there?
Well, when you write it, then you're really into it, as I am in all those shows. But the vision of, what it is you're trying to tell, the story of it, if it comes out as well as you think, it's awesome. Sometimes it comes out better than you think. And sometimes all those tools and everything right there, and you're going, how could they miss that? So it's all about the audience. When they really pop and it's a surprise and things of that nature, or an extraordinary move or whatever, those are moments. And I got the chill bumps like everybody else. It's in the audience like, holy shit, I'm doing the same thing, holy shit.
Yeah, and by the way, you are actually, because I've heard you come into my ear when something awesome happens, and it's like a very whoa. And you're in every single show. It is unbelievable. I honestly, I've heard the stories, and before I got into the universe, hey, nobody will outwork this fucking guy. And I'm like, what? I work hard. What are we even talking about? Right. I work. What are we even doing? Right. You, just for all these years, what I like to travel, how I get exhausted from traveling and every single week and then going back and being able to be creative. You bring the energy every single show.
Yeah, think about our crew. Think about all the many members, that do that twice a week. It's like, man. And sometimes it's difficult for the corporate types to understand that because it's not done anywhere in the world. No one does. We have the largest traveling show in the world. No one understands that, nor should they ever, nor should they give a shit. All you care about is what's on the screen, But there's so much of everything goes behind. And our vast organization, our production folks are absolutely the best in the
Amazing,
entire world.
yeah.
You know, but every guy, and we've had cameramen who have been with us for 15, 20 years. It's a family, and it takes a grind. It takes a toll on you to be able to leave your home. You're out on the road all the time and so forth, and sometimes you get home, it's not exactly the way you left it because things can get tough. But nonetheless, it's so extraordinary that so many people want to do this together, and I don't look at it as a grind. I obviously look at it as a privilege, and it is most of the time for everybody. But then again, it can be a grind.
But that's all coming from leadership right there. Because if you're the leader of the group, looks tired or is tired, it can almost have a ripple effect through the entire team.
Nobody's going to know if I'm ever tired.
Ever. No. Seldom, by the way, you said earlier.
But why would you? I mean, because it's no different corporate. I can have a really horrible phone call, a horrible meeting, okay, and now I've got 10 seconds to walk into the next room. Am I going to bring that in? No. That's really, really bad business to do that. So whatever it is that emotion you had there, okay, when you walk into that next room, be your normal self, smile, this, that, and the other, and you may be dying and pissed off up the yin yang, or
in here, in here.
Oh yeah, and there sometimes especially. But why bring that to the meeting? If you're angry or whatever it is that's bugging you, right away, it changes the entire complexion of the meeting.
So what do you, like your leadership style? Did you watch other leaders? Did you read books? Or is it just something that came naturally to you? And how have you evolved, do you think?
It's moreover, I'm sort of a student of psychology, but street psychology.
Trailer park psychology.
I'm, right, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of student I am is that I didn't have, my grades weren't good enough to get into college. So I've always been a horrible student. No learning skills. I'm sure I had every learning disability there was, although there were no names for them then.
Yeah.
I was expelled so many times for fighting and crap like that. I wasn't in school a lot. So I didn't like school. I didn't learn how to study at all. So I had to go to summer school to get into college. And then it took me 5 years going to every summer school to get back in. It took me 5 years to get through a 4-year curriculum. Easy for me to say.
Curriculum.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I got you.
Thank
East Carolina, right?
Harvard to the South.
Yeah, that's it. I went to the Harvard of West Virginia University. I did not graduate. Did you?
I graduated.
What was the major?
Business administration.
Oh, so that's
And
what.
that's another story. That's so many fucking stories. So here's like I don't have I don't have the grades to graduate. I'm slightly off. So if I went from a B plus to an A minus, that would help me. So I forgot the subjects, and I wasn't going to graduate. And it was like, man, my wife at the time, she went through a 4-year curriculum and then 3 years. She's really, really smart.
Well, that's 2 years.
So, yeah, it's like, but me, it's like, no, and here we're graduating at the same time. The reason I mentioned that is because we're graduating at the same time. We're supposed to. I don't have the grades. I'm not going to graduate. What am I going to do? I'm not asking for the world. I'm not asking you to give me an A when I had a D. So I found out where these two professors lived. So what are you going to do? I've got nothing to lose. You knock on their door and say, hello, I'm Vince McMahon, if they didn't know who I was because it was a large class. And I'd like to come in and talk to you about, where
Business.
I am. Right. So one of them was so kind and said, absolutely. As from a B plus to an A minus, be happy to do that. Another one was such an unbelievable asshole, didn't want to let me in his house.
That's bad business.
No, and I get it. It's unusual for a student, to find out where you live and knock on the door. I get that, but I didn't have anything to lose. So there was a bit of confrontation and so forth, and he was going to call the cops. Call the cops. I still don't have anything to lose. Really, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the sofa. And I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to call. No, call them if you want to, but then I am going to.
Hey, that microphone.
Do you have another one?
Yeah. Oh, there's a handheld right there. There's a handheld right there if you want, right there on your right. Or on your left, I guess, my right. Hey, that thing's tough, though. That microphone's been through it.
Yeah.
Still hear me?
Oh, you're better this time.
So, again, finally, the guy did change my grade, but that's how I graduated.
That's awesome.
Otherwise, I'd never graduated.
Get out of my office. I'm calling the cops. All right, fuck it.
Well, no, but really, what do you, is his home? And people's homes, that's, I wasn't invading his home. when we tried to close the door, I didn't let him.
Hey, but you graduate. Hey, college graduate. Yeah. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Yeah. That's pretty. Hey,
It actually happened. So
I'm glad I did not graduate. I mean, I wish I would have potentially went to a couple houses, I guess it sounds like, but I don't know how they would have been received. I'm coming in sleeveless and some hoodies, probably a gas mask or two. You got to do that entire thing. Go ahead, Tone.
Vince, we talked about it earlier about you eating the bedpan from Stone Cold, and some of my favorite times was when you were on the screen. Did you consider yourself a WWE superstar? Because I mean, there was a time where we all considered yourself a WWE superstar.
I had to become one. I mean, if I'm going to be on screen, I mean, especially with Steve. Yeah, that's a blast. And the funny thing is that, I'm really Steve Austin, and that came pretty much in terms of the concept of it, and knocking your boss and this and that and the other. I get that because that's the way it was. I totally understood that underdog philosophy and your boss is an asshole, and things of that nature. I grew up that way, knowing that.
And the perception of you was that, so it's an easy transition into Mr. McMahon, I'd assume.
Easy.
But you're the greatest heel of all time, people say.
What was that?
Greatest heel of all time. Everybody was like, that guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Right.
And it
Well,
was
the other thing, too, is when you're committing to a character, as I said before, you have to really get in. So you have to want people to really dislike you. I mean, you want people to honestly really dislike you. I guess maybe it's pretty easy for me to do sometimes, but when you are really into that character and you think of things that that motivate people, and when you even lying from a standpoint is like, people think I was lying when I said, like, you don't lie.
Yeah.
Really, you don't lie sometimes
Ever.
I mean, it's like, come on, you're any number of lies that you tell every day, little ones, sometimes they're big ones and what have you. But nonetheless, it's like topics like that people can relate to, and being able to, to mash the emotional buttons and to get a reaction like that, man, that is a thrill.
You loved it. So whenever you went to performer almost on your own show, it was a game changer, even more so. Like, hey, I love this. Because you were a commentator, long time. Hey, I'm going to be the voice of my product, okay? My show, this is how I would like to go. I'm going to be, by the way, one of the greatest commentators of all time as well. Congratulations on that in your own business that you created. Obviously, that's going to happen. But from that to the performer to being hated by everybody, that just brought a whole new level of fun and thrill to the business that you're already in.
Absolutely. The difficulty, though, is when you're performing, then you can't produce and direct. That's so difficult because you have to commit so much into that performance, and I'd much rather being on the other side of the camera. That's where all of the action is, and you can live vicariously through every single character that walks out there, and whether or not they're doing it well or whatever, If you yourself are the character, it takes so much emphasis to be able just to do that well, then I miss out, and everyone else does as well, in terms of me directing them and producing and so forth. So it's difficult to do, really is.
You saying that you're Steve Austin or whatever is so hilarious, because when I did that middle management promo, there was a big ha 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 in my ear afterwards, which I absolutely loved. You blew your quads out running down to the ring. And is there any other injuries that we haven't heard about that you've gone through your body?
Actually, you've blown the left one out twice, but that was very unique. Not too many people can, sever, the quad tendons at the same time. that takes talent.
Put it on the resume.
Right? Oh yeah. Because you have no use of your legs at all. No, I mean, when you sever your quad tendons, and again both of them at the same time, it's like you can't walk, you can't stand, you can't anything. It's just you. So you have to learn how to walk all over again.
Yeah, rehab.
You have to learn that rehab is, so important when you do all that. And it's like if you go too fast, then that's not good either. I like to push myself as hard as I can, but you can't go too fast. So in any event, things like that. I've had all kind of neck surgery. I've had tricep surgery. God, I can't think of all the damn things I've had. Back surgery.
Sternum, spine?
Yeah, that.
What's this all from? Just like, hey, walking around in your Corvette? What is this all? Is this from bedpans to the back? What is all the injuries from?
It's a combination of a lot of things.
Because you still remain. I mean, videos hit the internet of you squatting.
Yeah.
You're still. I don't know if you're in the shark pit or if the one that I saw, but you're still squatting like weekly. I think you're still putting a bar on your back.
I don't always do 1,000 pounds, but we do that like.
1,000
Is that how
pounds.
much it was? That was not like a joke right there.
No, it's 11 plates on each side. You can, and it's tough to have 11.
1,000.
But you can, but they're hanging. They're hanging by.
That microphone could not put 11 on each side. No, that soft ass microphone right there.
So at any event, we only do that once a month because you don't want to press too much. But now, as soon as WrestleMania is over, then okay, now I can go have fun with it and really load up.
Yeah, your trainer, I see him around. He's
a great guy, Mike. He's a terrific guy. Wonderful human being.
Hey, you got an entire crew of people. You said the team. Like, obviously, I've gotten a chance to meet Bruce and KD and the entire backstage, Frenchie, everybody that's in my ear. The people that have been around for so long that have helped you do this, all incredible people, even though the internet says a lot of shit. Like, I've enjoyed the hell out of meeting everybody. They're so professional.
Yeah, they're really professional and good, all-quality human beings. That's important, to have really good people around you. Very important.
Hey, Mike Cole, good guy. Michael Cole's a good guy.
That's your opinion.
And I know you don't want to hear this, but you're a good guy too, dude. And the reason why, in this latest version of why you're a good guy, you flew all the way out here for this conversation.
Yeah, but I was late.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, I mean,
I
don't
don't
want to
apologize for things. Don't do that. You know, if you're late for a meeting or you're late, there's got to be a really good reason why you were. You know, so walking in and apologize, I'm sorry, I'm late, kind of like thing. It doesn't mean anything to people. So it doesn't. Don't
That's
apologize.
real. There had to be a reason you're late right now. So, like,
So I
listen.
don't want to walk in, I apologize, guys. And then the next thing people want to say is tell you why. I apologize, I'm late because I had a flat tire. I don't give a fuck what you you're late. So at least if you're late, look as good as you possibly can, because if you're late and you look like shit, that's a double negative.
That was a long night there. That was a long night there. And I love how much you enjoy the rips in my pants. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
You like those right there, Vince? A little hole in the like show off the hammy, you know, a little bit of the quad. You love my fashion, right? That was the biggest thing that you said, you know, I like the way this guy.
Fashion?
Yeah, my fashion.
That looks good on you.
Every time we've talked, he has looked at what I'm wearing. Basically. But the story about my WrestleMania moment before you, and by the way, there was a couple like 10, 15 minutes of this conversation that I don't remember at all because you offered me a WrestleMania match, which is so incredibly cool. And the entire internet thought I was going to have a match at WrestleMania. And I've obviously been an incredible year. It's a dream come true. So I was a little bit lost there. But every conversation I've had with you, you've been so cool and so nice. And you've talked about, you know, my pants. And if you go back to my original WrestleMania moment, first of all, we blew the roof off an RV outside of the MetLife Stadium while we were there. You probably heard about it. The cops weren't happy. It was an entire scene. But I had shorts on. I had my tuxedo shorts on that I actually got tailored, which I don't do often. Got these things tailored, and then I had a nice tuxedo top. I looked good. And Michael Cole and a couple others wanted to kick me off WrestleMania. It's my first time there. And I'm like, at this point, had good money in my life, had a business, did this whole entire thing. I was just pumped to be in the WWE. And, you know, there's an entire thing about my goddamn shorts like 45 minutes before we go live. And you know, people talk to me and I go, oh, fuck you then. I won't go on. I don't care. And I just leave. I'm like, all right, I won't go on then. If that's the case, like, no big deal. I'll get out of here, do your thing. And you, literally, you didn't know who the fuck I was at that point. I don't think you had any idea who I was. I think you said, I appreciate that he wore those, and I respect it or something like that. And I think you added the word hip or something to it. And then I did it. You have been so genuine and cool to me through my entire relationship. And the fact that you came here, man, we will remember and cherish forever. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I appreciate that.
I've enjoyed this, guys. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of the WWE, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Yeah! All right. Try to win some tickets. Hashtag PMS SeatGeek Mania. Take a screenshot. Go ahead and bounce around. Hey, they're going to get a shot on you right now if you want to smile.
I don't.
Go ahead and tweet hashtag PMS SeatGeek Mania. We're going to give away 2 pairs of tickets in the lower section at the most stupendous WrestleMania in the history of WrestleMania.
I'll come in to watch you work.
Well, now I guess, huh?
All right.
Hey, hell yeah, too. Hey, listen. I'm already tired. How many days do we got?
30.
That is a problem. We're going to have to expedite that whole process. I appreciate you. I'm thankful for you. We will see you all tomorrow for a Feel Good Friday. We're live 11 to 1 here at youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show because the flight to Miami is long. Hey, that's way the fuck down there, Vince. That's a long flight down to Miami tomorrow night.
No big deal.
Very good.
More business in the plane.
There you go.
Oh, that's what I need to start thinking about. Business in the plane. Be smarter.
Right.
All right, I'll start that next week because this time I'm going to celebrate. I'm in fucking WrestleMania.
Hell yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Vince, thank you so much. This is the greatest show we've ever had. Cheers.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah. So with that, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. That was a fantastic interview that Pat McAfee did with Vince McMahon, and I learned a lot. I really enjoyed it. That was like super good. And the questions that Pat was asking Vince McMahon, and you could hear his passion. You can definitely see he's a fan and really holds Vince in like really high regard, and that's very inspiring for me because I do want to start interviewing my friends who are wrestlers, just because it's a little bit more easier. I do know them on like a certain level, and just the way that everything flowed with Vince and Pat McAfee's questions and everything like that. Like that was truly one of the best interviews that like I've heard and listened to, and had so much fun with it. I even was tweeting out certain quotes from Vince. Again, guys, if you're not following me on Twitter at Marie_Shadows, you can definitely follow me there, and also follow the Square Circle podcast and stuff. And yeah, Kenny, that was a great interview. There was a lot of laughs, there was a lot of learning lessons. There's a lot of things that both Vince and I agree on when it comes to the business. Which is not to really say that I don't mind like new age thinking, and I would think if we need like categories, AEW will be in that new age thinking, while Vince will still be in the mindset of making it a spectacle, making it, a superstar driven type of product, like he normally does, and everything that he was saying. And he's 100% right about like, building your character, making sure that you are that character. And when the cameras are on and they're rolling, make sure that you're in character. It's cool that wrestlers want to play themselves, but sometimes, like I was saying in like one of the other live streams, you can't always get yourself over if nothing in your personality is going to be connecting with the fans. You have to connect with the fans. Like they're your number one priority, because they're going to come to the shows. They're going to buy your merch. They're going to talk to you. They're going to go to the meet and greets. They're going to be like, hey, can I get your autograph? If you're not necessarily doing that, if your character is not doing that, if your personality is not doing that, you don't necessarily want like fans coming over for like sympathy wise, just because of like, yeah, it feels good, but like it's out of sympathy, you rather have fans that go to you because they believe in you and they believe in your message, they believe in your character, and on some type of level, they kind of connect with you. There's a reason why I put over a lot of New Japan guys, and I can put over some AEW guys, but AEW needs to work on, their character building and like, being consistent with their characters. WWE is a whole nother ball game where like, I appreciate everyone that works in WWE, from the wrestlers to everyone else. I mean, I was there too. And I even can hear it in the voices when I was talking to certain people, while I had downtime, during my lunch breaks. I would definitely like talk to the production crew, talk to other people, and you could definitely hear that they were passionate. So like, I do put people over. I don't know where I was going with that point, but it's just the idea of, after watching this interview and you guys being here and just listening along with me, there's a lot of lessons to unpack. Every good quote that Vince said is a lot to unpack there. And of course, I know that sometimes people would, be on Twitter and be like, Pat McAfee is not going to ask him the really hard questions and stuff. But it's like, half of me is like, why would you want to put Vince on the spot like that versus, getting to pick his brain, right? Because the biggest thing is, the biggest takeaway is when he was talking about like get rid of to get rid of dead weight. Obviously they probably could have went into a little bit more detail about that, about what really what boils down to them releasing so many wrestlers that we've seen during the pandemic. Like, was it a combination of low merch sales, low ticket sales? You honestly didn't have anything for them with creative. Like, I would have probably pressed a little bit more about like, how do you go about making those decisions? And you could tell it's all business, and it's always been all business. It's never like a personal thing unless maybe you get into some type of back and forth thing, but it's always been about business. And if they feel like they can't do anything creative with you, they'll just let you go. However, I know somebody will counter and be like, well, what about Mustafa Ali? I really do think they're like repackaging him and waiting for the right time for him to come back. Because by this time it's a little too concerning that he's been asking for his release and he's been putting up training videos, and yet then he's still on the roster, he's still getting paid, and he's doing all of this. And whether Vince sees it or not, or Nick Khan, they haven't let him go. So now I'm just really thinking that they're just biding their time. And that's about it. They're just waiting, and he's gonna come back as a new character or something, because to keep him there as long as for this amount of time, and then for having the fans tweet out free Ali and nothing has happened, no rumblings, not even like journalists are like trying to reach out to Ali and be like, hey, do you want to come and do an interview? Like, I don't know why people aren't doing that. So now I'm just thinking it's a work. Like, I don't know, wrestling journalists seem to like pick and choose what news to give us rather than just being like unbiased all the way through, and sort of like doing what they can, asking for interviews here and there. If this really was a huge disservice to Mustafa Ali, and because the Free Ali has been trending, I just don't understand why no journalist has reached out to Ali to be like, hey, let's have an interview. Like, what's really going on? I know you have to probably go through protocols with WWE to, get certain WWE wrestlers on the show and stuff like that. But if you're a really good journalist and you really want to help out, to help free Ali, I think that's the best course of action for you guys to do so. But, I'm just saying. Kenny says Vince made a great point when he said you could be a wrestler or an entertainer, and I think that's where the separation is. Yeah, that point. That's a very great point. Only because I sort of, you could feel it, right? You could feel it in WWE. You could feel that there's the entertainment aspect of it because they do a lot of like entertainment segments, and then they mix in the wrestling. So like, I would think with WWE, wrestling is sort of secondary depending on who you have in the segment that they want to showcase. And then you have companies like AEW who just want to focus on wrestling, which is all good, but you have to give me story at least. You have to give me stories that make sense for me to be invested as to why these two guys are fighting, especially when you're on cable, when you're on national television, and Dynamite and Rampage can be seen to millions of people at home after they come home from work, right? So like, it's a little bit different when you as a fan go to like indie shows. indie shows will have their, stories here and there. It may not be as heavily storied as WWE and the occasional AEW and then New Japan. But in indies, you expect a lot of wrestling. Like, I'm already desensitized that, I've been to so many indie shows. I helped out behind the scenes with indie shows, and it's all about wrestling. They move on to the next match. Sometimes they have story, sometimes they don't have story. And, I'm so used to it that when, AEW comes around and people are like, oh, this is the best AEW Dynamite episode ever. I'm like, you guys never really went to an indie show or even at least like 5 indie shows in your local area. And it kind of shows. So there goes that separation, and there goes that disconnect. As well. So basically, yeah, like that's like one of the biggest points that Vince was trying to make, that you can either be a wrestler or be an entertainer. And honestly, there is no right or wrong, because sometimes people fit better into the different categories. So, like, for example, I'm supposed to be writing up a review for Lions War Episode 5, which is the New Japan Pro Wrestling series over on New Japan World that takes a look into the New Japan Dojo system via the Fale Dojo. And there is one specific character on that team of trainees or intakes, goes by Will Arville. I probably mispronounced his last name wrong. But he's such a charismatic person that he will be better for WWE. And he could be okay for New Japan. It'll be interesting. It'll be something different. Just because, in New Japan, we have Hiromu, and Hiromu is very, I don't want to say flamboyant. I guess he's flamboyant. He's very colorful. He's very loud. He's a good entertainer as well as a fantastic wrestler. And then we have Juice Robinson, who like does whatever the fuck he wants, says whatever he wants. He's colorful too. But I really think that after watching episode 5, and Will gave us a promo, the promo that he did, I was just like, this is exactly for WWE. He fits better the WWE style just based on his mini story that they tell on the documentary series. And he fits better for WWE. He doesn't fit for the New Japan system. And that's not me saying that like he can't do it. He can if he puts his mind to it, but it's going to take him a lot more effort and a lot more time and training to get that style in for the way that New Japan wants the guys to be. And if they trust you enough to be your own person. Sometimes, having a personality like that doesn't sit well with others, and it might rub them the wrong way. So that's my reasoning for why he would be better for like WWE. And sometimes I could point that out of like, maybe this wrestler would be more suited for the entertainment aspect rather than like wrestler first type of thing. Kenny also said, because you could go all around the world and beat your body up and be one of the best, or be a great entertainer and make millions. Yeah. Give me a second. Sorry about that. It's always been that way. If you want to, put your body through pain and stuff, you may end up making millions anyway, but you might have to go a route that's a little bit different. You could always like negotiate your pay depending on your value and your status in wrestling. So like if you're a decent name, you'll probably be good and you should have like good saving money skills. And then, if you just want the entertainment aspect where you still get to travel around the world, wrestle here and there, and do a lot of media and just be around a lot of, good people, you go to WWE, you go be an entertainer. But again, there is no right or wrong. there's a lot of, fights on Twitter where, like, if they're an entertainer or they're in WWE, they're not as good as, someone who's just a pure wrestler. And, it depends. It depends, because sometimes I look at it from a character standpoint of, like, the characters should come across as, how can I say this? The characters in WWE, depending on what they're doing, should come across as natural, should come across as, not cookie cutter in a way, but sometimes we can see right through it. And then, I just think that we shouldn't really be fighting on the timeline about, like, just because one person is entertainer doesn't mean they can't be a wrestler. Every single wrestler goes through the schools. They go through the training. Everyone learns the basics, the fundamentals, the bumps, the rolls, the running the ropes, the cardio. Everyone is a wrestler when they start out. It just depends on, what they like more. Sometimes people are more attracted to being, part of a theater, part of a play, rather than being a movie star. So why are we not, complaining about the differences between an actor versus a theater person? Technically they're both actors and actresses because they're still performing in front of, an audience, whether that is watching it in like a movie theater or watching it live in a play theater. But we don't really have those conversations about movie actors and actresses versus theater actors and actresses, and they do the same shit. It's the same thing with professional wrestling. You have your actual wrestlers, and then you have your entertainers. They're not wrong, they're not right. They just decide to pick different sides. So I think, like, in the community, we need to, like, stop with the this wrestler is not as good as this wrestler. Like, if you allow that WWE wrestler to take on the pro wrestler of, like, I don't know, AEW or New Japan Pro Wrestling or Impact or MLW, like, you're gonna get a really good match. It might have some elements of, like, the easy shit that you see on WWE, only because you gotta feel for the crowd. You gotta bring them in. You can't just hit all your moves and think, like, that's it. You're gonna run out of stuff. You gotta, make sure that the match is as good as, the entertainment, and that the fans are captivated. If you're not captivating the fans, they're like, what's the point of it? So, like, your sports entertainer can do the same thing that your wrestler can do, if that makes any sense. But yeah, that was the best. That was the best interview, and I am really, really glad that Kenny was here to join me, and other people were here to join me, whether you were lurking or anything like that. I really do appreciate it. We'll figure out if this is going to go up on any of my social media stuff, especially like my Anchor or YouTube. I don't know if I should probably say that, but the more eyes on, the Pat McAfee show and Vince, being a human being, and just talking and, telling us stories from high school and other things, and just really digging into his mind about, like, how he, got the sports entertainment name and then all this kind of stuff. Yep. I really do appreciate you being here, Kenny. I really do. For anyone that's watching this on the replay, I am trying to hit my follower goal of 50 followers. That helps me get Twitch partner. I'm sorry. See, my brain is going too far into the future. One day I want to get partner. One day I do. But right now it is Twitch affiliate. That is what I meant. So if you are watching this on the replay, make sure to hit that follow button. So I'll say it here. I have been thinking about going live for the weekend. We could definitely talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling. The New Japan Cup just started on March 2nd with the first round. Those matches were fucking great. I have an article up over at ko-fi.com/Marie_shadows where you can definitely read the article. And if you want the in-depth analysis of each match, those will obviously have to be paid because, I put out a lot of free content, and I have no backing. It is all me. The Square Circle podcast is a one-woman show. So if you want to support in that way, it will just be a one-time no commitment of $3. The good thing about Ko-fi Coffee is that they allow you to just make a one-time purchase. You have no commitment to me at all. If you just want to support me with a simple $3, you could do that. If you want to take the monthly route, you could do that too. It's not like Patreon, where Patreon ties you down to it's this or that, and then nothing else. With Coffee, it is basically you could get this or you could get that, and then no commitments, or you could get both. Like, Coffee gives you a lot of options. I give you a lot of options because I understand that everyone out there is struggling at one point or another. But this is basically me trying to cover all professional wrestling, and that includes New Japan Pro Wrestling, maybe AEW whenever like Jay White shows up, because Jay White is wrestling's #1 asset. And then, covering whatever Tama does if he's going to be burning down the world because of the Bullet Club drama and getting backstabbed by Bullet Club. And so I got to follow their journeys, right? I got to cover professional wrestling. And I covered something of WWE, which is a little bit unheard of just because. But this interview was, very more entertaining, groundbreaking, and definitely better than, Tony Khan doing his announcements. I will come on the live stream the next time. I will come on the live stream to talk about my feelings and ideas about, Tony Khan purchasing Ring of Honor. It's still early. I'm still trying to process it. I really am. So yeah. And then also, we will be doing some live streams surrounding the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Spirits mobile game. If you guys have not been watching New Japan World, so on March 2nd, during the first round of the New Japan Cup, before they started, they had a ribbon cutting ceremony, and Tanahashi threw his hat, his name in the hat for being the new PR guy, and trying to kick out Naito, right? Because I'm so bad with names, but one of the other Japanese management guys, who is probably PR for the game and everything else, like the ambassador and stuff. So Tanahashi, asked if he can, be the new PR guy and like kick out Naito. And, I was like, maybe I should probably throw my name in there if I continue to showcase the New Japan Strong Spirits game. Because I did, but I did it the really weird way where I took my phone and I was like, here, look, right? That's not helpful. That's not really a good live stream. So I found a program where I can live stream and show off the game. And I like Japan, when it comes to gaming, they really do innovative stuff. There's probably going to be like maybe a lot of gamers out there, if they hear this, that will probably say that I'm wrong and that, it's Xbox and PlayStation for the win. No, it's always Japan for the win for their games. Like, the beauty of this mobile game is really breathtaking. The way that they decided to do the matches and the workouts and just learning about the New Japan wrestlers is great from start to finish. Like, it's really, really beautiful. It's really immersive. And, I wouldn't mind being a ambassador or spokesperson for the New Japan Strong Spirits game. So, hopefully we could get that partnership going and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's what I really want to do. I really hope that it can happen one day. All right. Kenny says he's going to head out. He wishes me a very good day. Also, you put my show on host. That's so great, man. I really do appreciate you, Kenny. We'll talk soon. Enjoy your day as well. And thank you for the support, man. I truly, truly, truly love it. Thanks for being here. But yeah, hopefully one day I get to, do a lot of things with New Japan Pro Wrestling, just because that's one of my favorite companies to review, talk about, and just have on my podcast and my live streams. And after downloading the game of Strong Spirits, it's really a really good mobile game. It's very different. It's not like any other mobile game that I've seen, and that there's a lot more other mobile games that I want to introduce that are wrestling based and have it on the live stream now that I have the program to actually, play it. So basically that's what's going to be happening. So this weekend, expect some more live streams. Come on through. We could chat about New Japan Pro Wrestling. We could chat about, AEW, MOW, which I still have to get caught up and do podcast episodes for that. I'm just really now in deep with New Japan and the storylines, but MOW, I did not forget you guys. I love you guys too. You guys are amazing. And then Impact Wrestling, I will talk about as well. But yeah, also tonight, I will be on the Bammer Slammer Wrestling Podcast, and I will be going over AEW Revolution predictions with Bama and the crew. So make sure you check that out. It's going to be right here on Twitch. Give me a second. I want to get the damn name right. Hold on. And don't you guys dare be like, oh, how do I not know? Let me see. I don't want to say the wrong thing, and then you guys are like, okay. So, all right. So it is going to be, you can find me at 9 p.m. over at twitch.tv/Smacked Raw. And those guys are super fun to hang out with. So, if you enjoy my wrestling takes here, if you enjoy what I have to say about wrestling in general, head over to twitch.tv/Smacked Raw at 9 p.m. Where you get to hear, me talk about AEW Revolution and why some of these guys need to take some lessons from Vince McMahon himself. Like they really do. If they're not going to listen to me, at least they can listen to Vince, right? So I love what I do. There is no doubt about that. That was a really great, inspiring interview for me to watch. Just because I want to get back into working for another company. For anyone that's tuning in now or tuning in later, yes, I did work for WWE for a short time, and I loved every second of it. And it was really great, and no one could take that away from me. And I'm gonna scream it to the mountaintops and everything about me working there and me just living the dream, accomplishing my 7-year-old dream of working for WWE, and trying to use that plus me working on the indies, helping out my boys. Some of my boys have shown up on my vlog, which you can go over to youtube.com/Squared Circle Podcast to go watch it over there. And yeah, it's just been one hell of a ride. And all I want to do is be back in a company and help a company out, help the boys out, do backstage interviews, do commentary. I do have a commentary playlist over on YouTube that you guys could check out and share, and just let the world know that I'm looking for work to be on the commentary table. I could do remote stuff, but I do need to put up more and new commentary videos. But I really do appreciate everyone's support. I really do appreciate it. So again, the quickest way to support me is at ko-fi.com/Marie_shadows for all your New Japan coverage. And for any updates on when I go live, make sure to keep an eye on my Twitter at Marie_shadows. And I will definitely be having a write-up and more deeper thoughts on this whole entire interview that Vince McMahon did with Pat McAfee. And yes, Vince McMahon does deserve a huge thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to an episode of the Square Circle Podcast. This is a special one where we did a listen along with the Pat McAfee show, having Vince McMahon on his show with a great interview. I am Marie Shadows, and I'll see you guys on the next one.